Welcome to the 700 Club. Chilling videos from a transgender clinic have the governor of Tennessee up in arms. The clinic was blasted for turning children into pawns of the culture war experimentation, with treatments described as frightening and horrendous.
Well, a doctor was caught on video bragging about the amount of money the procedures rake into the clinic. Video also captures staff members being threatened because they objected to participating in the transgender treatments. Heather Sells brings us the details.
Not only is Governor Bill Lee calling for a state investigation into the clinic's medical practices, Southern Baptists are citing religious freedom issues after chilling videos uncovered and released by commentator Matt Walsh.
If you don't want to do this kind of work, don't work at Vanderbilt.
One video shows Dr. Ellen Clayton telling employees that it is, quote, problematic when they object to providing transgender care. Those treatments include hormones, puberty blockers, and surgery.
Saying that you're not going to do something because of your conscientious, because of your religious beliefs, is not without consequences, and it should not be without consequences.
Within hours, Brent Leatherwood, president of the Southern Baptist Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, blasted the clinic. He accused it of turning children into, quote, pawns of culture war experimentation. And he expressed equal concern about those of faith who object. Southern Baptist President Bart Barber also weighed in, calling transgender treatments for children frightening. And former Baptist President J.D. Greer called the revelations horrendous. The videos also show financial incentives, as one doctor gushed about how much the procedures bring in.
It's a lot of money. These surgeries make a lot of money. So female to male chest reconstruction can bring in $40,000. A patient just on routine hormone treatment, who I'm only seeing a few times a year, can bring in several $1,000s.
Now, in a historic move, Governor Lee wants to investigate, saying we should not allow permanent, life-altering decisions that hurt children or policies that suppress religious liberties, all for the purpose of financial gain. The Tennessee Attorney General's office told CBN News General Scrimetti will use the full scope of his authority to ensure compliance with Tennessee law. Vanderbilt disputes the charges, telling CBN News that Walsh's posts misrepresent facts, adding that Vanderbilt does allow staff to decline to participate in care they morally object to, and that it doesn't discriminate against them.
TransBuddy provides trained peer advocates.
Vanderbilt, known nationally as a transgender leader, declined to tell CBN News how many children it has treated since opening its clinic in 2018. Across the country, more than 60 such clinics have popped up in the last 15 years. Vanderbilt and others maintain they treat an underserved and high-risk population. A growing number of U.S. doctors, however, point to the lack of scientific evidence for these treatments, which can permanently mutilate and sterilize children. These treatments have gained rapid support in recent years from medical, political, and cultural heavyweights in the U.S. Now, the tide may be starting to turn, with states like Tennessee, Texas, and others pushing back. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Oh, it's absolutely horrific what is being said in these videos. One, that you'll lose your job. That was the clear implication from a doctor working at the clinic. The other is that they view it incredibly as some kind of profit-making center, that they can experiment on the bodies of teenagers, and you can make a lot of money doing it. That's why we're seeing the explosion of the clinics, is that there's a profit to be made in this. And it's about time for government to get involved to say, what exactly are you doing it, and why are you doing it? And in all of this, are you following our laws? In other news, Hurricane Fiona pounded Bermuda early today with powerful winds and heavy rain. Puerto Rico is recovering after being hit hard by the same storm. George Thomas has the story from the CBN Newsroom. George?
Gordon, at least 8 people have died in the Caribbean islands as Fiona left behind a path of destruction in the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. And some amazing video has shown just how powerful this hurricane has been. CBN's Brody Carter is tracking the storm.
Images from space show the strength of Hurricane Fiona, stretching some 800 miles across. The hurricane, which had been a Category 4, bringing winds that were hitting up to 130 miles per hour. Inside the storm, 50-foot waves were captured by scientists using this sail drone just hours before hitting due west of the British island territory of Bermuda.
So we want residents to please take this storm seriously.
Residents scrambled to board up homes, store their boats, and prepare for the worst ahead of last night's 10 p.m. curfew. The island hit hard by Fiona's heavy rain and strong winds.
I have lots of water, snacks, canned meat, mostly non-perishables I purchased for the storm.
Meanwhile, in storm-ravaged Puerto Rico, Fiona's heavy wind and rain washed homes off their foundations. The people are living in the dark after an island-wide blackout. CBN's Operation Blessing is on the ground. Thursday, they delivered 10,000 aqua tabs for clean water for drinking and cooking, Home Depot cleaning buckets, blue tarps, and other essential items needed after a storm of this magnitude. Puerto Rican pastor Giovanni Alamar Santos says despite the storm, he's still able to see God moving.
We didn't expect for Operation Blessing to be here. We know times have changed, but we feel blessed Operation Blessing has come. We see them here and the interest they have on helping communities and showing the love of the Lord.
Brody Carter, CBN News.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Brody, rather. Turning to the Middle East, where a recent delivery from Texas to Israel is causing quite a stir, mainly due to the cargo of 5 red heifers. As Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, talk is growing that their arrival is prophetic and a prerequisite for the return of the Messiah.
These are the red heifers that landed at Israel's Ben Gurion Airport. Rabbis believe the ashes of a red heifer are necessary for purifying priests to serve in a future temple. The heifers were discovered and brought to Israel with the help of the Bonei Israel Building Israel organization and its team leader, Byron Stinson. Rabbis from the Temple Mount Institute approached Stinson about the unique cattle.
They said, Byron, could you look in Texas and find us a red heifer? I wasn't expecting that, and it was shocking to me to think about it, but I know a lot of ranchers, and I know a little bit about cattle, being from Texas, and I always say yes to these Jewish rabbis because they're my friends, and I love them, and why not?
This began an in-depth process of finding the rare heifer that meets key stipulations found in the Bible.
The Bible gives us a clue as to the significance of the red heifers here in Numbers chapter 19, verse 1 and 2, where it says that God spoke to Moses and Aaron saying, "This is the ritual law that God has commanded, instruct the children of Israel to bring you a red cow without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which no yoke has been laid." So it says that we're supposed to take a perfectly red cow with no white hairs or dark hairs at all, and a cow that no yoke has ever been on. So as a result, it's very, very rare to find a baby cow that is completely red.
The ashes of the red heifer would be used to purify water from the Gihon spring in the city of David. Just a few ashes could purify thousands of gallons of water. That water can be then purify priests from any contact with a dead body, so they can offer sacrifice in the temple.
Some Jews go every single day to a ritual bath, to a mikveh, in order to approach God in prayer in purity. However, it is not the same because we don't have the red heifer. Once we have the red heifer, we'll be completely pure and we'll be able to rebuild the temple.
The red heifer must also be 2 years old. These cattle are just around a year old and could qualify in just over a year.
So if they're able to make it without growing the white hairs or black hairs, I think with 5 of them we have a really good chance of that. Then they will be the first one in 2,000 years.
The Jewish sage Maimonides from the 12th century said throughout the first and second temples there were 9 red heifers. He said the 10th would signal the appearance of the Messiah. That's why many are excited about this arrival. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Very fascinating. Gordon, your thoughts?
It is very fascinating. And why would something that was written in the book of Numbers still be relevant today? Well, let's look at what's said in the book of Numbers. You've already heard the first and second verse, but here's the 10th verse. The one who gathers the ashes of the heifer shall wash his clothes and be unclean until evening. And then let me underline this part. It shall be a statute forever to the children of Israel and to the stranger who dwells among them. So it's like God's underlining this. This is a statute forever for Israel, which is why we're seeing it today where they're looking for red heifers. They're literally scouring the world to find one. Then these candidates are going to be, these 5 cows are going to be raised in isolation. And 1 year from now, we're going to see what happens. But a statute forever for the children of Israel.